Thursday night, 7 o'clock, the Garnet and Old show. I'm Ryan. That's Vince. The old part. Vince, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Ryan. Glad to be back in some normalcy a little bit, and I welcome everybody back to a little bit of normalcy. This is no inside info, no contacts, no problem. Ryan, I imagine this week we are going to talk, kind of wrap up last week a little bit, because I do have a topic I want to get to a little bit later.
Mm,
But I just want to let everybody know that Ryan is back in the saddle. I'm back in the saddle, and we're looking forward to spending some time with everybody tonight. We do have actually let's do the Captain Black first, right? I always get this mixed up. Captain Black is the sponsor of the studio. He's a sponsor of my studio. He's a sponsor of Ryan's studio. He's a Garnet and Gold alum. He's a Marching Chiefs alum. He is the premier offshore fishing captain in the Panama City Beach area. If you're looking for an opportunity to catch maybe the largest fish you've ever seen in your life,
mm.
maybe you're just going to catch a sunburn. I don't know, but if you're looking to catch something, give our buddy Captain John Black a call. Ryan, you and I are going to do this. You and I are going to spend. We're gonna schedule it. We're gonna go out to the Panhandle. We are gonna get on with Captain John Black, and we are going to take some video and photos of that for the listeners and the viewers.
That's awesome. And if you guys are watching live on X, also hop on over to YouTube so you can subscribe and like. We're getting people joining little by little tonight. It might be a little light show what we got
Yeah,
going on here. But Vince,
sometimes it takes a little bit for the people to hop in the chat, so hop in the show. So
pretty nice
we're
little
good.
week though. I mean, I just got back from Tampa today, or as we call Garnet and Old West, and for an office visit. And Vince, you and I are both a big fan of the restaurant Whiskey Cake.
Especially the dessert.
So let me tell you. So appetizers, deviled eggs,
Oh
and
yeah.
the hummus. My
Mm-hmm.
entree, chimichurri steak frites, and then of course whiskey cake for dessert with three old fashions on my end.
Oh,
All paid for by the company, of course. Everyone was having a good time. It's good when you go out with company folk.
it's good to be the king.
Yeah, so it was a good time. Good hotel room. That's important.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm feeling. It was a long drive back. You know how the traffic can be from Tampa coming back to Orlando, but I'm
hmm
happy to be back, surrounded by friends here on the channel.
Speaking of drinks, Ryan, since you brought up the three old fashions, yours truly has been dry for over 6 weeks now.
Yeah, I bragged about that last week, and I had old fashions, and then I'm sipping on wine right now. It's funny how quickly it can turn.
Yeah. Oh, how the turntables. No
Mm.
reason for it for me. Just one day I looked up and said, "Man, I haven't had a drink in a little while." And let's just see how far this goes. I too had a work dinner last night, and I actually had one last night, and I had one Monday night as well. And VC Knoll drinking waters.
Now, Vince,
So
you know what we're competing against as of right now, right?
what are we? Oh, absolutely, yes. I know we're competing against the NFL draft.
That just started. So if you're wondering why comments might be a little light today, but we're happy you're here. If you choose to watch Garnet Old instead of the draft, which I consider far more entertaining,
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
even
yeah.
close. Because who wants to see Shador Sanders get overdrafted? Um, way too high than he ever should.
Yeah,
Um,
apparently it was the worst interview that anyone's ever heard.
yeah, he was like an a hole basically. But that also could be a team kind of putting out misinformation to try to get him at a
Yeah,
lower
yeah, yeah,
spot, that kind of thing.
yeah.
But this is a Florida State football show, and listen, we got a lot of portal news.
We do. We have tons of it.
What my take on the portal stuff as a whole, because I've been listening to all the shows. The good news about going out of town is you get to listen to all the podcasts, right?
That's right.
And one thing I chose to focus on, Vince, before we get to the portal stuff, is how good once Mr. Sperry has been performing.
Yeah, yeah.
So for a second, I want to focus on a bright spot, which is what you're hearing is probably better than uh, probably good enough to be number two.
I mean, that's the types of things you're hearing make people start to think that.
Yeah,
But
things like he
what it,
knows the offense and defense already. He has no hesitation reading routes. They bring him up a lot.
they do, I don't know. I haven't heard that he knows the offense already. I haven't heard that. I
Well,
have
it's not
heard
that
that.
complicated.
I have heard that he is not afraid,
Mhm.
and he's highly competitive. And obviously, we've heard a lot that he can move. Um, so it really comes down to how quickly he does know the offense and can work within the system. So speaking of working within the system, Ryan, I forgot to mention this. We're going to try to hit the Super Goal tonight. We'll see what happens with everybody or a lot of people tuning in to the draft stuff. But we're looking for 5 super chats tonight, or $25 and or $25. And if so, we're going to give away 5 memberships to Garnet Noles tonight. And Ryan, we got a special gift for the members tonight.
Mm. Vince, you left one name off, very important name, especially after me listening to all the shows all week, off of the document we have working off of today.
Well, it could be that it's a recent one.
What about D Nos? Have you ever heard
Yeah,
that name?
yeah,
Did you
Dinaz.
did you listen? Did you listen to the Cameron show?
No, when I
No.
mentioned that I had a work dinner Monday night and a work dinner last night, those
Yeah,
work dinners always precede all day meetings.
yeah.
So
This isn't the JCS, but just to fill you in, both Ira and Jeff admitted that they saw the name hit the portal and they didn't even know he was someone on the roster.
yeah, I mean, I know the name.
Yeah.
I know the name. But a
He's
number.
like, I didn't even know that was a guy. I said, who? What?
I think that's going to be a theme here
Yeah.
with the
He was here
portal,
like 4
right?
months.
Yeah.
Hmm. What hurts you
So
the most, Vince, on the portal entries?
what hurts me the most? Hurt is a strong word. Um, I think the thing that is disappointing, how about that,
Yeah.
is probably Hakeem. That's the one that's disappointing to me. But it
Hmm.
doesn't hurt me because we haven't really seen anything yet. There were some signs, leading into last year or part of last year, but it's tough to feel really upset or hurt about an unknown. Still an
Sure.
unknown. So, what about you?
Uh, the only thing I would agree about the Hakeem thing. So, and Vince, you and I were at a spring game 3 years ago.
Hmm.
You remember walking by where the players were signing things, and we saw Hakeem maybe
Hmm.
2 feet away from us standing up,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we both said, "Well, okay."
yeah. Okay.
We were like, "That'll get it done," and we both made a comment like Kelvin Benjamin type body and size. It's a large man, and we said we haven't seen a receiver that looks like him
Yeah.
in a long time, and so we were really excited. So not so much of a me. It's not like I'm shocked the guy hasn't performed, but you take that body and you just imagine if properly focused and harnessed, like a Kelvin Benjamin. I mean, Kelvin didn't have a breakout season until his last year. In fact, he was a lot like Hakeem, where he was just not seeing the field because he couldn't get his act together, and he
Well,
only did.
an
You come to find
injury.
out, yeah. Well, you also find out that Jameis and Jalen kind of really starting to be like, hey, man, you know, you got all these gifts. How about you push some people around?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's what I was hoping for from Hakeem. If eventually it would click, like, oh, I'm gigantic, and start playing aggressive. But he actually played when you did see him like a finesse wide receiver, which it's just like, man, how about you go up and post on someone?
Yeah. It's really tough because I don't I wouldn't be it wouldn't surprise me if he latched on somewhere and really took off because, you know, he was stunted with his own stuff, right? Plus injury, but also everything around him wasn't going right last year either.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why I think fresh starts for some of these guys. It's almost like, it's time to kind of drain the pool, scrub around, and fill it up, with sparkling waters. I'm
Sure.
sure. I'm sure the fact that is it Javon? What's the freshman receiver's name? Um, Javon something or other.
Grades.
Yeah. So apparently he's getting a lot of high praise as well.
And
And
we know
so if,
Squirrel's going to start.
yeah, and Deuce Robinson, right? So if you have all of this, if you have a freshman coming in and they're already nipping at your heels or maybe already overtaken you, some
Sure.
stuff is not your fault. How do you get back in the flow? I think for a lot of these kids, unfortunately, because they have the mechanism to just bolt whenever they want to,
Sure.
they don't they don't push themselves through the fire.
Yeah. What's sad though is that more of an annoyance, really. Um, for all of you, pull up the FSU. Not you, Vince, but just you
Okay,
people at
don't tell
home.
me what to do.
Pull up the when you in your free time, pull up the wide receiver depth chart, and you'll see a whole lot of FR, whole lot of freshmen. Um, Talented freshmen. We're
Hmm.
excited about and we're hopeful, but we've been hopeful and excited about FSU receivers as a freshman for a long time. We haven't done too much now. New day, new coach, new coordinators. Ron Dugan's out. How much did Ron Dugans have to do with the lack of development? I don't know. With Hakeem, I have no idea. But it it can't look. Listen, you can't just say, okay, yeah, but Keon Coleman. Well, Keon Coleman was a force of nature that from the second he got here said he is that guy, and he didn't need a coach, right? I mean, he is like he could have hit the field with any coach out there, and he would have been Keon Coleman. And Jared, I would say the other thing is, aside from the elite players we got from the portal that were ready made, we haven't. Ron really didn't produce that much. I mean, so
No.
not holding it all on him. There's culpability from the player to hold themselves accountable, but at some point, when you see trends at a place like Florida State, where Vince, it would be different if we just didn't get wide receiver commits ever. But over the last 10 years, we've gotten a lot of 4-star plus guys. And to have all of them, like Tamarian Terry is the only one that comes to mind where I was like, yeah, he didn't fully pan out, but that was like, he was pretty good. He's pretty talented. Auden Tate, maybe.
Hmm.
But those, I mean, do you really want to go to
You
the
think
Naquan
about
Murrays of the
No,
world?
you want to go through the whole list. I mean, Irvine Lane and but it's interesting because we're in such a different time right now that it's really so much more important now that guys that are coming in that don't have to be like they don't need someone breathing down their neck. They've got it in them already. In the old days, you got to a school and maybe you didn't have your head on straight, but you were locked in. So you were either going to get with the program or you were stuck regardless, right? But now, because they can, leave at the drop of a hat, it's like the coaches have minimal time now to get in someone's head to motivate them because if that doesn't click almost immediately or the kid just got it built into them, then the chances of a coach having 3 years
Yeah.
to evolve someone, I mean, it's just few and far between.
Yeah, because the
um,
teenage mind is going to say, I should have been starting a long time ago. I'm out of here. I'm hitting the portal.
yeah, and it's interesting because they have that mentality about the end result, right? But I don't want to say a lot of them, but many of them don't have the mentality of what it takes to get the end result.
Yeah.
Ryan, I want to, just say, I want to be able to do 100 push-ups right now without stopping. I want that.
I would do.
But
I would hope for 5 for me.
but am I going to spend the next 4 or 5, 6 months getting up at 5 a.m. and working on doing push-ups? Probably not.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what I'm saying is this end result is I should be on the field, but if you're not doing what it takes to get on the field, then it's
Yeah.
like they're going to go to a place that basically going to promise them, and then we'll see what happens. But welcome, Tomcat. Tomcat says, you know what? Forget the NFL draft. I'm going to hang out with Big Papa East and BC Knoll.
Except now, I do want to real quick bring up one thing in regards to kind of the NFL draft, but just an hour or two before the NFL draft started, we got our first co-commercial for Madden/EA Sports College Football. And there's not much to talk about because it wasn't a full trailer reveal for the college football game, but they confirmed on the draft coverage that basically you'll be able to take a player from high school to college in college football 26, and then he gets drafted and then continue it through on Madden and get him drafted where you want to go and continue playing with him. And that's a cool idea. Just want to throw that out there. You're muted, Vince.
Sorry, that's really cool. There's some other stuff about Madden or college football that we can talk about in a little bit toward the end of the show.
Yep.
But it just reminded me. I just got a notification that someone on X liked the show, and that reminded me that we need to remind everybody, hey, smash the like button and tell all your friends about the show. So, and this is how you can support us.
Now, going back to departures, Jalen Brown, of course, it's like one of those of course situations. It wasn't
Oh my gosh.
because now a lot of people had a lot of issues with performance, but completely non-related. Dismissed obviously because of the arrest. Um, don't wish any ill will on him. Hope he gets his life together and kind of figures things out. But not surprising there. Slightly surprised about Terrence Ferguson, just because coming from Alabama, size wise, like some development to do, but he looked like he did start. He started,
Well,
didn't do great.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, no one did last year, but
Right.
so the outgoing of offensive linemen um, is a indicator to me. So Ferguson, what year is he? I don't remember, but he must have felt like, or he had the feeling like this thing just wasn't going to work for him, whatever it is that they're doing, and either that or Herb Hand is like, these guys are going to pass you by, and until we
And
see,
if that's the case, then good.
then right, he should, right, but until we see stuff like you weren't at the scrimmage, Ryan, I wasn't at the scrimmage. Until we see this stuff live, it's tough for me to know whether people are just jumping off the ship because it's awry, or they're jumping because they're realizing they're not going to be able to cut it, right? And that's kind of the thing that I was going to put a poll in today and just ask
Mm.
people. Are you leaning more toward optimism or pessimism,
It's funny
or
you
are
should say
you
that, Vince.
or are you wait and see? So let me put a poll in here
It's funny you
while
should say
you're
that, though.
talking.
We talk. We'll do this at the end, but we always do a random topic, and you brought up one thing, but I got a better one, Vince.
Or what?
Still, a better idea for random topic.
Okay.
Last 15 minutes, especially on draft night, an informal post spring 2026 wins and losses. I got the schedule
What?
pulled up. Yeah. Now, I want to cover it next week. Like, hey, here's what Vince and I talked about last week, and we can go into more depth. But I want knee jerk post spring wins and losses schedule. That's what I want the random topic to be, because that's what I was thinking about. Is like I want to give people where my mojo is going as far as like the fall.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
that's
we'll cover
fine.
it in detail, like more in depth, maybe next week or the week after.
Yeah, it's tough to have a gauge on it. I just put the poll in the YouTube chat there. If you're watching on X and you want to participate in the poll, go over to the
Yeah.
YouTube chat and do it. You've got three options. Are you optimistic? And it's basic. Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Or are you plea the fifth?
Yeah.
I'm probably plea the fifth. I'm probably plea the fifth right now.
I
Not
am.
enough
And
info.
the reason I want to talk about this later, because this is from the heart, that this is here. I am pessimistic.
Mm,
And in general, my pessimism doesn't come from any of the individual things that we've talked about over the last couple weeks, but a culmination of things like non development and what I feel is a lackluster roster prepared to deal with the upcoming season, combined with what I think could become a tightrope for Norvell this season of
yeah.
how quickly fans could start to turn, how quickly articles could start getting written if things don't go immediately better, how quickly it could turn. Like that's where my
Unfortunately,
pessimism.
unfortunately,
Hmm.
they kick off the season with Alabama.
Yeah, right.
So
Now I'll give
that,
them a break for that.
well, I know you will because you're a little more level-headed, but
Yeah,
the unfortunately the vocal people is who we're going to hear from, and the vocal people are typically keyboard warriors and
yeah,
whatnot, and you know Alabama's currently, light years ahead of where Florida State is in terms of a stability standpoint in terms of the roster.
right.
So, they pull that. If Florida State pulls that game off, and I'm not saying they can't, but if they pull that game off, it's going to be I don't care who you are, unless you're watching the practices and you know what's going on behind the scenes, there is nobody that's outside of that bubble that can look at that game if Florida State wins that game and says, "Yeah, I knew that was coming." It is going to be a complete shock to everybody because no one, I don't think any Florida State fan should go into that game thinking we're going to win. I just don't think that is a realistic. Um, you may want to win, right? And you
Sure. You
may
can
hope
hope.
to win,
Yeah.
and you may think to yourself, Florida State always has a chance to win any game, and
Any
and
team
and you
does.
can and you can feel that. But from a numbers and metric and trajectory standpoint, you cannot, in your right mind, go into that game with the mentality of we are about to come out of this with a W. You just and if you are,
Then I can't
let
help
me
you.
know. Let me know who you're using for your guru and your vibes, right? Or what you're using.
Yeah, I like the what you're using. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Getting back to the portal stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, we're off tangent.
Trevor Jackson. I think we're all kind of Vince. I think you and I are in agreement. Like, nice talent. I understand it because of his situation here, and like
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame him. Um, but there's some good news too. We're hosting, from what we hear, the next 7 days, some potential portal people.
Hmm.
Um, Going based on my conversation earlier, where you saw a whole lot of freshmen on the wide receiver core, I was
Hmm.
pleased to see us in the mix for one Tony Johnson from Cincinnati,
Hmm.
and we're not in a position where if we were 10 wins last year and we thought with the right pieces we could make a run this year, you would probably go out and get you a top player here and player there. But what they see is, okay, we have Squirrel, we have Briggs, right? a few other nice pieces, but a lot of youth, pretty thin. So what you're going to see is them ironing out security pieces, security blankets. People who have played college football,
Purity.
have had some snaps, and have maybe a few touchdowns, and that's what Tony Johnson gets you. He's not a not a crazy player. 6 touchdowns last season, but that's depth with someone with experience that's played in the SEC and has scored touchdowns. So nice player. Same thing with Marion. So not for your receiving yards. Hasn't done. I looked at his stats. Hasn't done a whole lot on the receiving side, but
Yeah.
he's known for his return game. Now I thought Squirrel was the idea for that, but we'll. I mean, I can't. You can't hurt to have more.
Think about this, Ryan. No,
Can't get
not
worse.
at all. Yeah. You got to have bodies there, and we kind of know the kind of bodies they want to have. With the outflux of wide receivers, right? Think about people that are coming to visit. They see the opportunity to get on the field and play. Like say if Jaylen Brown didn't, happen what happened to him, and
Yeah,
Hakeem was going to stick around, like when you're coming in from the outside and you're going, hey, I'm a wide receiver and Florida State is looking at me, but wait a minute, look at all these guys, right? And
yeah.
these guys have been here for a while. And so my chances are less. So you should always have the mentality that you're going to beat someone. Don't get me wrong. Um, but now that is that picture is much more clear on how someone could come from a school like Cincinnati and go, wait a minute, I can I can wear the garnet and gold, right? I can have a spear on my helmet. Like
Yeah.
I can become a dope boy and I can get on the field and I will get reps. All
Boggs,
of a
by the way, not
sudden,
Briggs.
what's that?
Thanks, Tomcat. Boggs, not
Oh
Briggs.
yeah, Boggs. Yeah. So I think that, with these guys, they're looking at, you know, there is a much clearer path for these guys to actually become, uh, you know, maybe not the prime players, but significant pieces to the rotation. And we need them, right? So it's frustrating to see just the constant ebb and flow of players, and we talk about it every week. Like, I hardly knew you, and now you're gone, and now this other guy I got to get to know. That's why it's just going to be all about the garnet gold and the logo, and I don't necessarily care so much about the name these days.
Yeah. Well, I think the overwhelming Vince talking point here is players that are going out weren't really contributors in any meaningful way,
Yeah,
and likewise, the players that potentially are coming in are likely mild contributors where they come from. So what you end up with is what you see on the spring roster right now, people. If you go on Seminoles.com, look at the roster, it's probably pretty close to what we roll with for the season. Now, certain positions, I'm not as worried. I actually think offensive line will be fine. I think quarterback in Gus's system.
I
I
think
think we
tight
have a
end will
few
be fine.
guys. Yeah, it could be fine. Um, top two in the depth chart or three maybe on wide receiver. Um, it's okay. I have some idea of what my heart tells me on the defense, but I have no real idea until I see Tony White's defense on the field with the players we currently have on the roster. We thought 2 or 3 linemen last year would be first team All American uh, defensive linemen, and that didn't happen. So we have to be careful there. So overall, I'm feeling pessimistic just because I look at the roster when I go on Seminoles.com and I look at those players. I'm not gusto with confidence.
Mucho gusto.
Now, will it be enough? I don't know. That's the real answer. Now, we'll have plenty of time tonight to do a loose and free, wins and losses, just kind of knee jerk post spring. But I'm concerned.
Yeah,
And
I
you
don't
know me,
blame
usually
you.
I'm Mr. Positive, overzealous. Man, we're going to win a national title every year. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Uh, I'm going to be middle of the road. I'm going to be middle of the road. So I'll
Mm,
just leave it at that. And so we'll see what happens with the portal window.
yeah,
Um, you know, I was talking to someone the other day, and I think it was a buddy of mine at work that was asking me about Norvell. Like, what do you think about him? And my answer is always the same and has been the same for the last probably 6 or 7 months. Is, you know, I want it to work out for him so bad. I think he's the right kind of guy, right? I think he's the right attitude,
yeah, the human being.
the right type of. He's got the right attitude about the kids. I think he's obviously intelligent as far as the game is concerned. I think he has an understanding and a reverence for the position he's in, right? Um, but if he can't if he cannot elevate the recruiting game, it's not going to matter.
And how can he though? That's my. It just plays into one of my why I'm concerned. How after 13-0 did you not land a top 10 class?
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, and these are mistakes, right? These are mistakes that you make. Ryan, you've managed people before, and you have people on your team, and you've got some people that are A players, and you've got some people that are B players. And you keep people just kind of doing the job,
Yeah, world
coming in
needs
at the
edge
last
sneakers too.
minute, rolling right and right. So, but did you and have you taken the time to say, well, our team is performing right here, but we want to go here. In order for that to happen, I need to find the more appropriate place for these people, and it's not on my team. And so I believe that that Coach Norvell, and I'm not behind the scenes, but what it looks like is, and what we've heard is that some of the people that were on the staff weren't doing what needed to be done from a talent acquisition standpoint. And as the head of that, if you don't know that's happening, that's a problem. If you know that it's happening and you allow it, that is also a problem.
That's a worse problem in my opinion.
Yeah, so that has got to be fixed. And maybe getting to the point where he is now, where he is more of a CEO level, he'll be able to um, fetter out these things that maybe have been a problem,
Yeah,
and things won't blindside them like they seem to have done in the last 3 or 4 years when it comes
yeah.
to the recruiting part.
What I've come to feel about Norvell, if people ask me the same question, good human being, it's usually my first answer. Like I really like. If I were to hang out with him, I think I'd like him a lot. Um, he comes off as naive to me compared to the relative position of the job he's doing. As far as feels in over his skis a little bit sometimes in certain situations. Um, and you're right, he could course correct with their high school recruiting, but that would take a turnaround this season. If it doesn't start off great, he's not going to get that high school recruiting, and then that's how things snowball.
Yeah,
So there is
it's precarious.
a lot of booby traps for him this coming season. There is a pathway and several pathways where he turns out and it works out and he does turn things around. I
Tom
lean
Tomcat,
percentage
you're
wise
right.
more in the he's more likely to hit a trap
Yeah.
right now.
As the old saying goes, Tomcat, nice guys finish last, but like most, I hope that's really, really wrong this time. Yeah, being naive is or be trying to think the best of people, I think is an admirable quality. I like to be that way myself. I like to think that people are going to pull themselves out
Yeah,
of whatever predicament they got themselves into. But this is the other side of this. When people show you who they are, you have to believe them. You have to believe them. And it's not on him that they weren't performing correctly, right? That's their job. It is his job, and he's done it to help these people find another place to do what they want to do, and that is not at Florida State, right? So
Yeah.
this new staff hopefully has got a killer mentality when it comes to getting the right kids in here. Hey,
I would be confident
Ryan,
more. Yeah.
people, kids want to play for Florida State.
They have to
It
see the
is,
path.
yeah, kids want to wear this logo. They want to run out on the field of Doak. They want to become a legend among the legends that we've had. They want that. They've grown up seeing it. The legends are in their brain. They know about it. They want to do it, but they're not going to come here just to. I would go just to wear the colors, but I'm not an elite athlete.
Who wants to
So
get paid?
yeah,
And I think this is a good time to switch because I mean, I think we don't have a ton more to talk about the portal additions or subtractions.
no,
Um,
we wanted to. I know you were rolling in kind of hot, Ryan, but I do want to make sure we at least talk about the baseball game.
yeah, why don't you hit on that before we go into the wins and losses stuff?
Okay, so after last week, and last week was a complete nightmare. You know, it was obviously the ultimate nightmare for students that were there. Um, for parents of students, it was a nightmare as well. And we talked about this last week. And if you're interested in how I found out, and you can go look at the show from last week. But um, you know, the university did the right things, and by canceling all the athletic events
Yeah,
and doing, like, going out of their way to just make sure kids understood, students and faculty understood that you know the university is secondary at this point.
yeah, to
It's
life.
about you. It's about you as a person. um, and there was some backlash from the original um, communication from the administration about starting on Monday, right? And they had to. I don't want to even say they backtracked on that. What they had to do though is further clarify what they meant by that.
Yeah,
So you know, I think they handled it as well as you can. And
sure,
and and the president, by the way, I don't know if you watched the vigil, Ryan. I think you did, but to watch him stand up there and feel feel it and not just read off of a script,
sure. Yeah,
heart wrenching. But what I wanted to bring up is two things. The baseball game on Tuesday, Link Jarrett. You know, when you're talking about bringing back a homegrown person to lead one of the programs here, I mean, Link Jarrett is aces, right?
sure,
He he talked about it like this is a family thing. We all need to be together, and I want Hauser to be a place where we can all be together. And they opened up the field, for students. And I don't know, some people may not have paid attention to this, but they opened up the field for the students that were at the game to come on the field.
sure.
And the Chiefs that were in town, and my daughter got to do this because she's a recent grad and she got to go and play. So the Chiefs were playing there, and um, that kind of that kind of family bonding and togetherness, and the opportunity to everyone to be able to be together to turn a page in a sort of way is an amazing step toward healing.
Yeah,
And Link Jarrett, um, thank you, Link. Thank you, Coach, for doing that. I mean, you could say, well, of course he's going to do that. No, I don't think this. I don't think this kind of stuff, is, first of all, it's abnormal to begin with, right? But I just think there's a different kind of connection within the FSU community and the family.
Sure.
And the last thing I want to say is that, and this is a little bit of promotion, of course, but music is an ultimate healer. And whether you are having the greatest time of your life, you always think about the music involved with whatever it was, right? You think about the greatest memories in your life, right? Then you think about the most poignant memories in your life, and there's almost always music attached to it. Then you think about like the most, when you've been down in the dumps, when the worst things in your life, but whatever those things are, there is emotion and music, and there's healing in the music. And so if you haven't had the opportunity to, there was a particular student that was basically playing his trumpet outside of Westcott. Immediately after this happened, there was supposed to be a performance there that night, and they had to cancel it. And the hymn to the Garnet and Gold healed a lot of people, or at least started the healing process for a lot of people this week. So that's what I wanted to say.
Well said. Kudos to the administration for handling things correct. Maybe, let's be honest, Force has never been the greatest at initial communication on anything, but we got to the end result that was probably the right one. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the videos I saw, a lot of video on my TikTok feed, of course. Like, it knows me, so it knows Tallahassee and everything
Mm-hmm.
Florida State. So
Yeah,
it was a good moment, and I appreciate it. For people who are mad, like, we lost a whole series of baseball. Like, who cares? Who cares?
yeah.
It's fine. All right, back to football, Vince. So
back to football.
I got the schedule pulled up, Vince.
I got it right in front of me. I need my glasses though.
I'll go one by one and I'll read them off, and you just tell me win or loss.
Sure.
And I'll give you mine.
Are you keeping track?
I'm keeping track, yeah.
All right. So those of you that are in the chat right now, as we read these off, when you're in your comments, type in the game and type in W or L. Okay.
Alabama.
L.
I'm an L as well. That to me, that game goes without saying. East Texas A&M Lions.
W.
Yep. I agree with you there. Kent State.
W.
Okay. Virginia.
W.
Agreed. Miami.
Loss.
I'm in agreement. Loss. Pitt.
W.
I'm going to go loss. Stanford.
That is away, isn't it? I'm going to go W on that.
I agree. W. All right. Wake.
W.
Agreed. Clemson.
Loss.
Agreed. Loss for me as well. Va Tech.
It's home. It's homecoming. I'm gonna go W on that.
I'm gonna go loss. NC State.
Loss.
I agree with you. Florida.
Loss.
Agreed. So Vince,
where do I have
has
7 and 5?
You have them at 7 and 5.
Yeah.
And me at 5 and 7.
Yeah. Let me look at the chat here real quick. See what we got people chiming in here. Oh, Morris. Hey, Morris, what's up?
Morris just dropping dubs like Jameis out here.
Tomcat is all about it. We beat Miami. We beat Florida. Book it. How about that? Trauma Boy's got an L there. I think he's probably talking. It's tough to know which games they were talking about. I see a lot of L's in here, though.
Yeah. So here's my take, Vince.
Okay. No.
My record guarantees Norvell's fired.
Yes. I'm
5 and 7. Yes.
I wouldn't say guarantee.
I would say 100% guaranteed under 500 at Florida State for second year in a row. You're gone. Your record, he's teetering. He's on the as hot a seat as you can possibly be on. One game above 500. If we weren't still pretty deep early in his contract and wouldn't owe him as much, to me, it's a coin flip or just better than 50% chance or maybe 60% chance that he stays. But it's not a comfortable spot at all. And we're probably going into that recruiting season in a panic and really having some serious conversations with one another about can he do it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Morris Simmons. Morris says 9-3. That's what
I see
has to happen.
I see 4 guaranteed losses on the schedule.
Yeah, but and I think I'm right there with you, right? So, but what Morris has here for 9-3, I believe in order for Norvell to really turn this around, I think that's what has to happen.
Agreed. Yeah. You have to win
Short of,
all your coin flips and you have to win one unexpected one.
yeah,
Because Vince, Alabama, Clemson, Miami, and Florida. Those are my what I would pencil in as likely losses.
yeah. I mean, it's likely loss.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to think that way until we
Yeah.
actually see a product.
Now
And
see Ryan Eastman post Labor Day if we beat Alabama.
Ryan, if they beat Bama, Ryan is going to audition to be one of the glitter guys.
Yeah, like I'll be like, man, can we lose a game? I don't know, but I'm telling you, I looked at the roster, what we have, what we don't have. There's some cupcakes on our schedule. I counted, to me, I can count 3 very, very like pretty much guaranteed wins. My guaranteed wins are East Texas, Kent State, and I Stanford. I think is dreadful.
Wake
Their
Forest is
roster,
pretty bad too.
they're pretty bad, but it's Wake. They give us problems sometimes. It is what it is sometimes. Um, but to me, there's like 4 pretty much guaranteed losses unless someone really like we overshoot. And so that would mean to even get 8-4 to me, you would have to win every coin flip game with all the other middling ACC teams, and you're not
Yeah,
going to because you have to use logic in that. If we were not Florida State fans and we were doing wins and losses for Vatek, and we saw their schedule, we looked at the roster, and we were like, 4
yeah,
guaranteed losses. They're not going to win every coin flip. Let's add maybe 1.5 loss more. If we were
yeah,
doing the odds, and we would put them a 6.5 win team in the odds. And so for me, I'm at like probably like a 5.5 odds.
yeah. You and I aren't that far off from each other. When you say I've seen the roster, I've seen all this stuff. You've seen names, right? Especially for the guys that are brand new to the team or whatever. But remember, not only are they brand new to the team, but the coaching staff and the scheme is all new
And they
too.
all have to mesh all of it.
So I know, but that's why I'm saying I cannot be all in, and I also cannot be all out, right? Because until I have to see them play, and even when they play Bama, it may not be a total indicator because it's the first game of the season under a brand new staff, a lot of brand new players against one of the programs that's been, at the top of the heap for a long time.
Yep.
So, we'll see. But I do believe that 8-4, 9-3. If you're in there, then you have a chance
You're safe.
to right it. Not just safe for that year. I'm saying to right the ship. You know, long term. But anything short of 8-4, I think you run the risk of it being at the best same old,
Yeah.
right? So,
In my
um,
opinion, Vince, just me, not what I think would happen, what I would do. Both of these records, I would fire him.
Well, it's a good thing you're not handling the purse strings.
Now, Vince, I am surprised to hear you say that my record doesn't guarantee a loss. I mean, firing.
No, I don't because unless something significant happens, like 2-10, I don't think I think he's got 2 more years.
5-7 is going to have a lot of people calling for it.
The reason five, well, people, yes,
People
but the
can have
question is
he
whether
can
it's
have
the
it.
right people.
Yeah, but if enough people at 5-7 are, including boosters, season
That's what I'm saying.
right, and it's
That's what I'm
already
saying.
happened, Vince. There are powerful boosters who were saying it last season.
Well, I don't have that kind of info, Ryan. When did you get that info?
That's from Jeff Caron saying he knows people that are not insignificant.
Of course. I mean, in the, if you poll 100 people, you're going to have people that are going to be on the negative side of this. And
I just don't
I
see him
will
surviving
say,
5-7.
I will say that whatever decision is made, I have enough confidence in the people making the decision to be okay with it. So if the decision is to let him go and be like, I trust these guys, they're smart about this kind of
Till
stuff.
they hire
No
Dion, then
one's
you'll be like,
no one's perfect. No one's perfect, right? So not every decision you make is a perfect decision. But
there's a
so either
non-zero
way, I'll be
chance.
good.
There's a non-0% chance that someday Vince has to come on this show with Deion Sanders being announced as a coach,
Oh,
and
good
him just be
Lord.
like,
I mean, anything's a non-zero chance, right? But man, I don't need that kind of circus in my
or
life.
Lane Kiffin or something.
Um,
Talk about
so
the pictures, Vince.
yeah. So before we roll out of here, I had these ready for last week, but it did not seem the right time to talk about new members only emojis for the chat when everything that was going on last week was going on. So these emojis are available to the members, and we'll just go through these real quick. So if you're a member, I think Trauma Boys in the chat here, you can try them out. This is for Screw ESPN Eternally. This is your Screw ESPN emoji if you want to use it. This is for your Send Chiefs all the damn time emoji. So if you're interested in pumping the Chiefs up, that's what this one's for. This is our if you're gonna do the mantra, let's do it. No inside info. We got an emoji for that. We got an emoji for no contacts. We got an emoji for no problem. So we've got the gambit there. We also have a little Rohan emoji. So when our buddy Doug is back on the show, you can show him some love with the on the record emoji. And also, when we have Parker back on the show this fall, this is your is that mathin', right? So when we start talking about stats, this is a great emoji to use for that. And then, of course, I added this one, after the fact, but we also have an FSU strong emoji to use as well. So these emojis are available to the members. So if you're a member, you can give them a try. Trauma
We
Boy,
should
you
have
can
done
give
a
them a
We
try.
Strong then.
We strong then, right? But those are available to the members, and if we might build some more out there too as well. So
One quick piece of info, Vince. Keep an eye on Mr. Azari Thomas going in the first round of the draft tonight.
yeah. Oh, Trauma Boy tried all the emojis all at once.
I like it.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah.
He's got them
So
all.
are you gonna watch the draft?
So what I end up doing, especially Kristen's here tonight, so we'll be watching TV because I haven't seen her in 2 days. But I always on draft night for the first 10 picks, I'll have my phone draft cast up. I am interested to see how far Shador slips. I am interested to see if Tennessee takes Cam Ward number one. I actually do think Cam Ward is going to be a really good player in the NFL, very Lamar Jackson.
I do too.
Yeah, I think he played for a so-so Miami team last year and still put up massive numbers. In fact, I would say, Vince, if Cam Ward was the quarterback for Florida State last year, we would have a winning record. That's how I think he's that good. I think
Yeah.
Shador is completely overrated, small, and not as athletic as Cam Ward. So that discussion's a cut and dry case to me. And I think there's a whole lot of feeling from coaches out there that there's a whole lot of entitlement from that kid. Whereas Cam Ward, he came from nothing, man. He came from a small school. He's a hustler. He worked his butt off at Miami.
Hey, you know what I'm going to do, Ryan?
Yeah.
I'm going to retire my daughter's uh, Bartram Trail basketball jersey. I'm just going to retire it because she's my
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. Played 2 seasons. Won. What was the most games they won?
I don't know.
Eight, nine.
Did you see the meme somebody or the graphic somebody created that said like Dion's kid instead of his
And
instead of
Tyler
his
Hunter.
actual name?
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. No, I actually
Travis
believe
Hunter, yeah.
Travis. I actually believe Hunter is a legitimate
I'm
NFL talent.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them retiring his number. I mean, that I'm
Colorado
okay with
doesn't have a
that.
whole lot. Yeah.
But there are guys that haven't that did dominant things as part of that program that do not have their jerseys retired. So as usual, it's all about the Deion Sanders show. So
Yeah. Fully. Actually, I was fully on board with Travis Hunter being on that wall. Um, I think on any other team, I truly believe if he had ended up going with Florida State, that he would have been a transcendent player here. I can't even imagine Travis Hunter on last year's on the undefeated team.
yeah,
What could have been, like, you ever think about that?
yeah, man.
Jordan Travis and Travis Hunter would have been fun to watch, man. It just would have been
Let's see what we got going on the poll here. 8 votes,
the
62
coach's
percent.
poll.
62% say optimistic.
Oof,
Pessimistic say 12%. Plead the fifth is probably me. Is 25%. Two people
man.
plead the fifth. So
I'm about to have a
yeah.
fifth of whiskey.
Hey Ryan, I'm gonna I'm going to I'm gonna tease something here.
Mm,
I checked in last night to the cruise that I'm going on in June.
sure.
45 days out, you're allowed to check in, pick the time you're going to board the
Doesn't it
ship.
feel good when you do that?
It is, and you're like, okay, I'm going to be the first one on the ship. I am going to dominate that buffet, and I'm going to dominate the drink package immediately as soon as I get on the ship. But Ryan and I have come up with a very, I think, unique idea for the show the week that I am on the ship. So
Hmm.
I think we should maybe talk a little bit about that next week, Ryan.
Yeah, so those of you who are cruisers out there, Tomcat, you know all about cruising. I know you do. You tend to find these little ducks, little toy ducks, all around ships.
Mm-hmm.
With and it'll have like sometimes it'll just say like "Happy Cruising," but sometimes
Yeah,
it'll be like
enjoy your cruise.
yeah, sometimes it'll be a brand name like like a vlog or something. Some kind of social media handle for people who are like cover cruises. But they're all over the place on cruise ships. Vince had the idea to make a Garnet Noles duck collection that he will sprinkle around the cruise that will have a QR code.
Oh, you're going to
That,
give it all away right now. Let's do it.
yeah, that will give a QR code that if they
You
scan it,
don't
will have
have to
a
tune in next week. We're going to talk about it right
yeah,
now.
but we'll
Go.
have a when they scan the QR code, we'll have a very special Garnet Noles message video for the person who views it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
and
fun idea.
it's a fun idea, and it's going to be a special video for the people that find the duck. And my intent, by the way, is to if someone finds the duck and they're not a Florida State fan, you could watch the video anyway, or you could watch it and just hide the duck again for a Florida State fan, right? But so that's the idea behind that. But we are going to do internet allowing.
Yeah,
We're going to do a full show. I'm going to do a full show from the cruise ship. And my
sure.
intent is to try and have whoever found the ducks to join me at the venue, so we have some live studio audience from the cruise ship.
And I was so inspired by this idea that I booked a cruise last
Yeah.
week for
Yeah.
next year. Couldn't get approved for this year for my wife. You have the same issue sometimes. I would say Vince and I, 10 out of 10, love cruising, and our wives enjoy it, but not obsessively. So you have to get it passed by the checkbook holder, and we got it approved for early March of next year on the brand new MSC World America, which is a beautiful ship. Lots of tours online. It just launched this week. MSC's first cruise ship built specifically for the U.S. market. It is they bought an Oasis class ship from the shipyard, like Royal has, and made it their own.
Right, right, right. Brett Taylor, I'm glad you made it. Dadgummit, I confused myself. Thought it started at 8, not at 7. But he did hit the like button, which everyone should try to do if you haven't done so. Brett, by the way, you are a member here. Check out the fancy emojis you have at your disposal as a member.
Thank you,
Um,
Vince, for making
I
those.
I do have as far as the cruise video, like the special cruise video for the duck hunters. Um, we I don't want to give too much of this away, but it's we're going to be utilizing the talents of a primo um, uh, movie. Not going to say producer, but editor, cutter for this video.
Producer slash seducer.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
no, absolutely. It's going to be fun. I still think we should have like Vince with a glass of wine with like candles in the background, like, hello, thanks for finding the duck. You've reached the Garnet Noles channel, you know? But it's been fun, Vince. I will say
yeah,
this. I'm ready already. Without the spring game, I'm going to be even more ready for football season, despite uh, my my reaction with the wins and losses. It doesn't mean I don't hope for better. Of course I do. So I'm going to go into Alabama hoping to be, even if we lose that game, to be, oh, that was better than I thought. That's what I'm hoping for. And so I'll end this by saying, screw ESPN eternally,
oh,
because I love to say that still. And forever I will, except for the college game day in which Lee Corso, even though they haven't announced where he's going to be, we all know it's going to be at Florida State. Come on.
it
It
better
just makes
be.
sense. Or we right. That might be the last time Vince and I ever watched College Game Day, or
I
go
haven't
to it.
watched. I didn't watch it at all last year, by the way.
Yeah, you were at one
I was at one
for a brief moment.
in Dublin. I was.
Yeah,
Send Chiefs all the damn time. Um, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it, and then make sure everyone is watching Knowles all the damn time as well, because that is money in the pocket for the program. So
this has been
thank
another
you,
wonderful Garnet Noles show, Vince.
thank you, Captain John Black, for sponsoring us. As usual, we appreciate you. Hopefully, you're getting someone from the Garnet Knoll family reaching out to you to get some fishing done.
Actually, no. I hope he's actually, for cruising sake, reaching out,
Right, right,
touching
right.
me.
No
uh,
inside info, no context, no problem. We
no Neil
appreciate
Diamond.
everybody for being here tonight, and we'll see you soon. Go
Go on,
Knowles.
everyone. Be well. Peace.